This is where business ideas and passions turn into profit. Whether you're dreaming of becoming your own boss but don't know how to get started, or have already started a side hustle and wish to grow it exponentially, your host, Victoria Wieck, can help you turn your passion-based business ideas into profit. Welcome to Million Dollar Passion. Here is your host, world-renowned jewelry designer and home shopping TV celebrity, Victoria Wieck.
Hi again, this is Victoria Wieck, and thank you so much for joining me another week for another episode of the Million Dollar Passion Podcast. And like I did last week, I want to wish you a very happy and healthy new year, and I hope that all of your New Year's dreams come true this year and beyond. So today we have a real treat. I have an amazing guest. His name is Jeff Smith. And, you know, when we talk about transformation stories, I got to say, we do a lot of transformation stories here, but his transformation story is just amazing, nothing short of astonishing. So here, Jeff actually, he failed. I hate to use the word failed, but it's his word. So he failed in math and English and, didn't have a lot going for him at that time. But he's currently living the dream life that he envisioned living at some point. And we're going to go and talk about how he accomplished that, and specifically his expertise in helping small business women, and I know, no offense to you men that are listening, but anybody who's in small business who wants to elevate their business, who wants to bring visibility, awareness, and, increase your effectiveness, working fewer hours and making more money, stay tuned. Right now, before I go any further, I'm going to ask Jeff to talk about his life a little bit, because I have a feeling that he can tell it better than I can. And he's a lot more entertaining than I am. So welcome to the show, Jeff.
Hey, Victoria, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've given me a lot to live up to there, haven't you?
No. So listen, Jeff, just tell my audience a little bit about your, like a couple of minutes of background story, because we're going to kind of unpeel and unpack the rich life story that you have to offer to my audience.
Sure. Okay, I'll keep it short. So as a child, I had a wonderful childhood. I was loved, but we didn't have any money. I won't say poor, because that's a state of mind.
Right.
We're broke. There's a state of pocket. But I didn't know, blissfully. So university was never on the radar or anything like that. And my parents were not mentors. So I was allowed to be lazy, for want of a better word, if you wish. So my passion when I was younger, from about 8 years old, I was a musician, and that's all I wanted to do. I was a keyboard player. I had no interest in English or mathematics or anything like that at school. I just wanted that bell to ring to go home and play music. That was it. So I did okay at school, but what's fascinating, I failed. I failed at English. I failed at mathematics.
Well, wait a minute, you're British. How could you fail in English? Is that even allowed?
Well, I can speak English, yes. But so I failed at English, I failed at mathematics, and here I sit today, having written the best-selling book in the world on mathematics, which I think is fascinating. How does that happen?
Yeah, it is astonishing. It's fascinating, So let's go back to that a little bit. This is a new year, and by the time you hear it, it won't be like a new year anymore. It'll be several weeks before you hear it. But still, I do feel like the year 2022 is an incredible year for many of you. You can either rise to the top, you can, really elevate. This is an opportunity because, with massive changes, social change, financial change, political change comes, wrapped with opportunities, incredible opportunities. And so this is why I have Jeff here. So I guess the point you're trying to make is that no matter where you come from, no matter what status economic, social stratosphere you come from, you can accomplish anything. I mean, okay, first of all, you failed at math and English, and you could maybe, be a great archaeologist or musician or whatever, but actually you went to writing a book about KPI, and we'll talk about KPI a little bit, key performance index, and how critical it is for all of you who are running businesses, because I think this is the one thing that a lot of people don't talk about. So we talk about marketing, we talk about digital marketing, we talk about social media. People talk about all of these things to death, but without really a measuring stick, or from the beginning, like a goal, you don't know your performance. You're just wasting money and, more importantly, time. So let's talk a little bit about and how you came about discovering the importance of KPI. Well, what is KPI? Just can you explain just that a little bit for people who've never heard the term before?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. Yeah. And then I'll answer those questions you've raised. So KPI means key performance indicators. Mm-hmm. What's fascinating about them? We live in a world where everything is being measured with key performance indicators. Yeah, you sit in your car, you look at the dashboard, and they're all key performance indicators. Right. They're everywhere. We just rarely recognize them as such. So KPI, key performance indicators, are predominantly recognized in business to give a roadmap from where you are of where you want to be. That's what they're for. So there are lots of different measures in our life, wholly dependent upon what it is that we want to achieve. So that's what they are.
Yeah, and if you want to know a little bit more about, the key performance indicators and all the different ways you can, it's not like a one thing. Everybody's going to have different key performance indicators, and many of you are going to actually have different key performance indicators based on the particular ad. Some of them you might want to have different goals, different, expectations, for example. So if you want to get more information on that, and you really want to get into this before I forget, you can visit Jeff's website, because he has a lot of information on this, and most of what he has there is absolutely free, and it's just an amazing information. And it's jeff-smith.com. So you can check that out. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I kind of wanted to, because we don't want to go into like a whole academic discussion about the definition of this. So let's move on a little bit.
Absolutely right. Yes, absolutely. So answering some of the questions you raised earlier, which is what we can do with this stuff, is lots of people say, anybody can do anything, fulfill your potential. I mean, yes, providing you have the right direction. More speed in the wrong direction doesn't help. And I found this out when I was 18, which is a long time ago now, Victoria. Right. I decided to study what is it that makes successful people successful. Then I attributed it to be millionaires, but being successful is not always about money.
Right.
Money generally follows. We have callings, we have passion, these kinds of things. Right. I interviewed 325 millionaires on my journey, and I found out they all do 11 things in common. Some are aware of these 11 things, some are not. And it's quite fascinating. But going back to what you also said earlier is about having goals. The thing about goals, they have to be very specific. And that's where we can use key performance indicators as well. So it kind of keeps your eyes on the prize, if you will. Mm-hmm. So you can work hard, but the direction must be in your chosen direction of travel. You don't just work hard in any direction. It's about being specific. I was talking to a lady a few weeks ago about this, and she ended up in tears, and she'd written a book, and it wasn't selling. And I said, what was your goal? And she said, my goal was to write a book. And I said, well, hey,
You did it.
your goal was fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So she was passionate about writing a book.
Mhm.
Her goal was about writing a book. And then I said, your goal wasn't about providing transformational change to other people that would want them to buy your book.
Right.
Your goal was actually about writing a book. And then she said, oh my goodness me, tears came into her eyes. So you have to be specific. And if you want to grow a business, you also have to be specific. And successful business strategies are about sustainability.
Yeah.
Can you keep on doing what you're doing? It's no good putting a lot of effort into something once or twice. And that's where key performance indicators help us. It gives us direction, sustainability, and a sanity check, Victoria, to make sure that we're obtaining what it is that we want to obtain.
So, it's really interesting. I'm going to break this down to the language that I can understand. So, it's like if you get in your car and you say to yourself, I'm going to start driving. I want to travel. And, you have where you're going to travel to. I don't know, someplace in the East Coast, and you don't have a GPS. You don't have a specific destination. And therefore, you don't know where you're going to stay. I mean, obviously, you can't go to New York in a car in a day. You don't know how much gas you're going to need. You can be taking a lot of detours, right? So, I mean, having that key performance indicators, it's like having a GPS and having a goal at the other end. So, it's how fast can I get there? And is it sustainable if you drive 90 miles an hour for 12 hours? It's not sustainable. So you're going to crash. So I completely understand that. So let me ask you, what are some of the I understand that everybody has different key performance indicators, but what are for small business entrepreneurs who doing anywhere from 6 to 7 figures, what are some of the key performance indicators that they should be looking for?
That's a fascinating question. That's the question I'm asked second most popular.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular one, the most popular one is, Jeff, what are the top 10 key performance indicators? Okay. So they touch upon each other. Here's the fascinating thing. This is what I find when I speak to business people. So you imagine where you were 5 years ago, your state of development and the state of your company at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, your dreams and aspiration 5 years ago would have mapped out your future, and then you will have put together the key performance indicators that were right for that journey. Right. That could be profitability and all kinds of things. So you would have your KPI dashboard. Now move it forward 5 years. Are your goals and aspirations the same as they were 5 years ago? Probably not. Your beliefs have changed. You've transformed into something else, someone else. Your skills are better. So you want slightly different things. Therefore, the key performance indicators you have will change. Now, here's the big mistake that lots of business people make. They keep the same set of key performance indicators forever. Okay,
so I still want to know, okay, just to give you an example of my own journey. Okay,
sure.
So I completely agree with you on that. Your goals change. So, for example, when I first, started my company, I didn't have any money. I started my company with, probably, I would say it's no money because it was like under $1,000. And so I didn't have any money. So, what are the things that I could do to keep track of? And the thing that I had was, I wrote these. In those days, we didn't really have email because this was 1989. I wrote these direct mail letters. Okay, I typed them on my typewriter. We didn't really have personal computers either back then. So I typed them on my typewriter and I sent out 50 letters every single day. Okay. And I was hoping to get, some traction. And that some traction for me was like a 10%, people saying yes or no, just a response rate. And so that, looking at that and then the quality of the response. So I was looking at a response rate, a lot of the times they're like, no, we don't need you. So, and then so yes, no, or maybe. So I had these little goals there. And my goal at that time, you still had profitability goals. So it was like, I want to make $2,000 a month. And so if I get, so many people coming back, how many people do I need to, convert them into customers? And what does an average sale need to be? So I was tracking pretty well. In fact, I did so well that, my goal was $2,000 a month. If I could actually hit it out of the park and make $3,000 a month, I could maybe, save money to buy a new car, 2 years from now. So that was my goal. I ended up doing over $1 million in that first 18 months. So obviously the goals changed because at that point, my performance indicators were not about getting more consumers to buy. It was more business to consumers because I needed to save time. I wanted to be at home with my kids. And so, the metrics change. So I think that what I try to tell people, a lot of beginner entrepreneurs is that, when you place your Facebook ads, when you place, whatever marketing effort you have, make sure that you understand why you're doing that. Like you said with the lady with the book, I mean, she said her goal was to write a book, right? That sounds to me like it was her goal to write a book because she wanted to be a writer, not to help other people, or I want to add value to somebody else's life. And the way I was going to add value was going to be to write a book about XYZ for a certain kind of people. So that would have been the performance indicators. And that would have actually helped her write a better book, right? More targeted book for that audience. Yeah. So key performance indicators, how would you advocate then for a small bit? There are some key performance indicators. Yes, the amount of money will change and all that, but aren't there any common threads between, small business owners that are experiencing, because a lot of the audience here, they're somewhat successful in terms of, they've sustained their businesses for, 5, 10, 15 years, and they're consistently doing, the 6 to 7 figures, but they've hustled, they've out networked everybody. They've, just worked hard. So I guess understanding key performance indicators will help you work fewer hours and amplify your message faster because you're going to be focused. Would that be correct?
Yes, I think so. The thing that's common is not the key performance indicator themselves, Victoria. It's how you think about them. Right. And this is the transformation that I want to bring to you today. Okay. Because most people think that key performance indicators are answers. They're not. They're questions. So let me explain how we can use them to make transformational change.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let me use the example that you gave earlier. When you started, you were sending out 50 letters a day. And every day. Wow, typing as well.
Typing them, yeah. I became a very good typist now.
Yeah, that's it. But you said your expectation there was to have 10% responses. Mm-hmm. So 10% of 50 is 5. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason we have key performance indicators and how we make transformational change is to turn them into a question and say, right, if I did type up 50 letters per day and I am getting 10% response, which is 5, what do I need to do to change that to 11% or to 12% or to 15% response? And what are other people doing to achieve that? Now, it could be the style of writing. It could be the qualification of the people that you send it to. But the key performance indicator, which is a 10% closing ratio, response rate, whatever you want, is really a question of your activities. So that's what they're for. So you can use this with your jewelry. So if we're looking at gross profits, if we buy something for $10 and we sell it for $15, then our gross profit is 33%. So the question then is, in order to change my gross profit, I either have to change the buying price or the selling price. How do I do that? So it's about key performance indicators are about questioning the things that are important to you.
Right.
And then looking closely at the actions that you're taking in those areas. And then can you make those actions sustainable?
Yeah. So I think we're really on the same wavelength here. And it's really interesting because I expected 5 and I wrote these letters and I actually got somewhere between 10 to 20% response rate.
Okay.
And, you know, just response, not buying yet at that point. Because, you know, I wrote to them, I didn't have a brochure, I didn't have a website, I didn't have anything because nobody had websites back then, but, you know, expensive catalogs were definitely how people did business. And that was not an option for me because, you know, mailing a catalog was like $3 and, you know, the regular first class postage stamp was like 9 cents. Printing those catalogs were somewhere north of $25,000 every 6 months. And I didn't have that either. So I had to work with the lower budget. But I think that when we talk about and everything you said is actually really true about, you know, when you increase your business, if you do it by lowering your prices, your profit margin goes down. So while you are increasing your revenue, you may actually be making less money, right? So, you know, you do have to keep that. I would say your key performance indicators, they're not necessarily answers, but they are looking at them, understanding them crystal clear. You know, they just become like a bunch of tools that you could use to get yourself, you know, kind of focused on every effort you make, every dollar you spend to do it, you know, with the purpose and with a plan.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's really important. Again, I think that I find this fascinating that most people who talk about digital marketing, and I myself have an MBA and I went to a fabulous school. Don't take that against me because I will say that, you know, a lot of the things I was taught in the MBA school, you know, and like I said, I went on a scholarship, so and I did really well, but they don't teach you. They teach you a lot of, you know, things about marketing campaigns, and you know, you may be reaching a whole different audience than you thought you were. You know, there's just and then when they actually come in to get the freebie or whatever you're doing, it's the wrong target audience. So, you know, your conversion rate's low, or sometimes you do convert, but then, you know, you lose that customer. So new customer acquisition price at that point becomes very expensive. So I completely understand that. I guess what you're trying to really advocate is that, you know, understand why you're doing what you're doing and think about, you know, your goals and the purpose for it and your mission for everything you do before. So when you know, kind of write down your key performance indicators or your goals for everything you do, it just becomes easier to, you know, come up with your marketing campaigns or anything else. And I think my audience, a lot of the people that are running these small businesses that are doing, you know, scratching the surface of 7 figures, or maybe they're doing mid 7 figures, they're busy people and they don't really want to understand. They don't want to have to spend the time. They don't think they're going to learn how to, you know, do the SEO, do the KPI, do any of this stuff on their own. So they hire people. But what I would say is no matter who you hire, understanding this will help you even hire the right people. Right?
For sure.
The world is full of people, you know, who provide services that's never done it before. You know, they're full of, you know, coaches that really never ran a business, which I find that really odd. So Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, you made a great point earlier about the lady writing a book and what you thought. I mean, you've written a book, haven't you, Victoria? I
Yes,
think
I
you've
have.
written
Yeah.
more than one book, haven't
Right.
you?
Yeah, I have. Thank you.
So I'm often asked, how is it I'm really successful with selling books?
Mhm.
And it's because I do it an opposite way to anybody else that I know.
Right.
So if we think about goals and aspirations and what you just said, if I work with people to help them get their mindset right for writing the book, and
Mhm.
I don't have anything to do with the writing of the book,
Right.
that's your job.
Right.
So what I say first is that prepare and put the advertisement together for your book. Sell it before you
I
write
agree
a
with you.
single word.
I agree with you. I
So
completely agree with
I,
you on that. Yeah.
I spent 3 months putting an advertisement together for this book that I had not written a word for. And I showed it to other people and they would go, oh, wow, yeah, I want this book.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was actually writing that advertisement and all the things that were in it were
Mm-hmm.
my roadmap for writing the book.
You know, Jeff, yeah, that is actually so profound because, you know, it's really profound because, you know, working, I read some article, I forget which you know, publication this was, but this was a guy who was teaching golf for young children, and he was a volunteer, you know, volunteer coach, I guess, in the summer. And he said that instead of like taking the kids out on the driving range to, you know, hit the balls, you know, like teach them how to swing and all this stuff, he basically tells them, don't worry about hitting the ball. Don't worry about any of this. He starts them on the putting green.
Mm-hmm.
Because he says, you know, you're going to do 2, 3, 4 shots to get to the green. But if you 3-putt it, you know, you got 18 holes. If you 3-putt it, your score is going to be like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're getting about 60, you know, about 60, 60, somewhere between, you know, 55 and 60 strokes just there.
Yeah.
That kills you, right? So he understands the goal and he's starting from the putting green. He said these kids have to learn how to putt before they learn how to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that when I give speeches and I hold these free workshops, and somebody tells me, I had a lady yesterday, you know, telling me that she's an aspirational, emotional, mental, you know, health coach, but she also does, you know, corporate, you know, financial advice and all this stuff, and she also teaches financial literacy. Okay, so I asked her, if you were going to do a webinar tomorrow and you have to place a Facebook ad, what would that Facebook ad say? And she had trouble articulating what it would say because there's 3 different things that she was trying to, you know, trying to accomplish. So I would say that, you know, doing the ad ahead of time, and, you know, before we went on air, we talked about my book. And, you know, when I pitched it to, you know, I had the book all, you know, kind of written, and I knew that what I wanted to give in terms of the value. And it's called $1 Million Passion, same name as this. And I really wrote a simple 7-step book on how you can turn your passion and purpose into a dream business. And I thought, you know, my life dreams, I've well overachieved that like years ago. So I thought, you know, when COVID hit, it's, you know, it's not that difficult. What I've done, it wasn't that difficult. You know, it's completely possible. And I want to share that. And when I asked for feedback from agents, and they, you know, a lot of the agents told me, you know, you're going to need to add, why don't you have, you know, you've had this incredible business and you've, you know, dealt with, you know, everybody from, you know, all the different, you know, I've done business with Delta Airlines, British Airways, all the duty-free people, the cruise ship people, you know, done business with Harrods. And he said, yeah, you know, one of the things that I would think would be natural to you would be like negotiating skills, because I've done it without any lawyers, by the way. I go, yeah, right. And there was no chapter in that. So basically, you know, they made it infinitely better, you know, by adding and all that. But I agree with you. You start from the end. What's your goal? What you actually hope to accomplish? You got to start from there. So I agree with you on that. In terms of, so, these were really great, valuable lessons. Now, tell me a little bit about your 11 steps to success. I mean, obviously, we don't have to do all 11, but if you could give us just a few, maybe top three that you think is most important for my audience.
I'll give you the top three.
Okay, perfect.
I'll give you the first three because they're sequential.
Okay.
So step one, most people can't do. They have difficulty doing. And step one is, what do you want? Most people don't know what they want.
Okay.
I find that, I mean, I speak at conferences all over the world, and I get people on stage and I'll say, what do you want? And some people say, more money. So I'll put my hand in my pocket, give them a dollar bill. And I go, there you are, your dreams are fulfilled. And they go, no, I want more money than that. And I said, but all you asked for was more money.
Right. Exactly.
Until you're really specific.
Right.
So step one, every successful person I've interviewed knows exactly what they want. It doesn't happen by accident.
Right. I agree.
So that's, if you can nail that, then the rest is relatively easy. Relatively.
Okay. So what's step two?
Step two, write it down. Write it down with clarity. So I guess you will have written it down somewhere, what you wanted to achieve. And then coming back again, it doesn't matter. I mean, we've spoken about books, but it doesn't matter about whether you want to write. If you want to write a book, great. But if you're the inventor of a new product, or you want to buy and sell a new product, you want to buy and sell your services, well, I would say first, absolutely, write the advertisement first and let that be the guide for your new product. So I recently had a guy come to me with a book, and he wanted me to help him to understand how to sell it. And this will put things really into context for everything we've said so far. So I said to him, can I see the advertisement for your book, please? And he'd just written his book. It's printed. It's in his hand. He's given me a copy. I said, can I see an advertisement for your book before I read it? And he said, oh, I haven't done an advertisement yet. I came to you for some help and guidance. And I said, and here's the point. Here's what I said.
The baby's already been born.
I said, you have a product that you wanted to create. You've written a book that you wanted to write, not necessarily what people wanted to buy. You understand the difference there? And I think successful people understand, what do people want to buy, and then they go create it.
Right. I agree. So we have time for one more, step three.
Okay. Review, react, revise.
Okay.
So know what you want, write it down, but it's not written in stone. You will take some actions, and then you might think, some things work, some things don't work. I need to change, I need to revise, I need to react, I need to be flexible on this. Now, failure does not mean the end, because failure are great lessons in success. So you never fail unless you don't get up again. So every time you fall over, make sure you pick up something. And
it's just really funny. Okay, so it's really interesting, because in the beginning of this interview, you said that you interviewed all these people, and successful people have these 11 steps to success. And that some people know what they're doing, they do this consciously, and some people don't know what they're doing, but they do it anyway, right?
Innate.
It's really interesting, because the top three things you said are exactly what I actually have done, and what I tell a lot of the small business women. I do a lot of speeches, and I try to help other women succeed, because I feel like female business moms, have a extra challenge. And that's exactly what I preach
There
is,
you go. There
because
you
I
go.
didn't have money. Okay, I didn't have any money. So the one thing is I knew what I wanted. And you're right, it doesn't have to do with money, because my goal, when I immigrated to America with my parents, I was the oldest child of the 5, and I was only 13. My parents both worked 2 jobs, 7 days a week. So I helped raise my younger siblings, and I almost never saw my parents really. And I didn't have a whole lot of quality time with them. They didn't speak English, and they couldn't, help me with my homework or anything like this. So, I kind of had to grow up by myself. So when I became an adult, that's the one thing that I was not going to deprive my children of.
Sure.
For me, my goal wasn't, we talked about my goal being $2,000 a month. That's just to sustain myself. But the true goal was to spend unlimited time with my children. So I actually built my whole business around their schedule. This is why I ended up with businesses in England, and I sold to Harrods, Marks and Spencer, all these companies, because I had to work, the Pacific time zone, like at 6 o'clock in the morning is like midday for you guys. So I had to work, at 6 to 8 a.m. before my kids went to school. And then for Asia, I sold to Takashimaya and all the, major stores. And so 5 p.m. LA time was like 9 a.m. their time. So I actually worked these extreme shifts. So that was my goal. And that was how I got there. And as far as your, and I wrote my goals down, because I said to my husband was also broke at the time. We had like 2 matchsticks between the 2 of us. But I said, one day, if I'm successful, I'm going to forget where I started. Okay. And when life gets really rough, I'm going to have to remind myself that my goal was to make $2,000 a month. So when I'm making, $6,000 a month and I'm bitching and things aren't going well, I have to be able to go back and say, like you said, I've like overachieved my goal, like by 200-300%. Like, what am I bitching about? Right. And then in terms of business, I'm a huge believer in learning how to, crawl, walk, and run. So, I really try to tell people, test your product, tweak, test some more, tweak, get your 80-20 rule, get the 20%, best performance, and then get 20% out of the top 20 out of the 20. So you're looking at the top 4, percent. This is why the conversion rate was pretty high for me the whole time. So so far your top 3 is like right on the money. And I've actually done those 3 things pretty much all throughout my life. My numbers have changed, but that is definitely something that I can attest to the fact that it works.
Yeah.
I'm
going to give a painful one.
Okay.
It's
my birthday, so you're going to have to give me a painful one. So go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I'm 29. Can't you tell?
Yeah. So here's one of the 11 steps. You must surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
And some people do all of the things, 10 steps, but this one will cause you to fail. If you don't have the right people surrounding you, if they don't share your passion, especially the people you live with, then you'll never get off the ground. Or if you do, it's always going to be a fight. It's always going to be a struggle.
I agree with you on that, Jeff, too. I mean, personally, even if somehow you actually get ahead in life, let's say you had to, kind of look the other way for this, or, this isn't really, I'm not really cheating. The guy's a little sleazy, but, if you have to question this at the end of your journey, when you're looking back and say, I created this amazing business, you want to feel good about that.
Sure.
You don't want to, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to have to go back and say, geez, I screwed over some people, and I watched, my partner screw some people over, but, that's the cost of doing business. I mean, I don't think I could live with that. So either you build it for the right reasons, never bending on some of those, moral issues, or you don't have a business.
Yes.
because like you said, you're just like one thing away, one disaster away from never getting up again. That's, when my kids were younger, I used to tell my kids, because I was always a present mom, I said, you have everything compared to where I came from. You have everything a child could possibly want. And we're living in America, one of the best places where, no matter where you're from, like in terms of economic opportunities, everything is possible. The only way you're going to get in trouble for life, like you can get into really big trouble and you never get up, is if you surround yourself with the wrong set of friends. And so that's why I was like there. I mean, I was like the mom who drove the field trip, cars, and I volunteered in their school classroom so I can keep an eye on them. So I agree with you on that of all the tips you gave, I think that's, for me, that kind of strikes a real chord, because all the other things you can kind of, recover from if you didn't do it. Listen, Jeff, for the other steps, there's 11 steps. And I really, really wish that all of you would visit his website to kind of get immersed into building a business. Hopefully you can build a nice little empire that you can hang on to. You could actually have a legacy from, you could help other human beings, because with a little bit of money, you can impact, everything more. You can obviously volunteer, but you could help your family, yourself, your community, your world, in very small ways, but very important ways, by, building your passion, turn your passion and purpose into an amazing business that you could be proud of. And I mean, I think Jeff and I can both say that we're living our dream life. That doesn't mean like we're billionaires sitting here with our own jets, but my dream life is being able to spend, all the time in the world with my family, my children, my mom still, doesn't speak a lot of real great English. I mean, she came here when she was like a fully grown adult. My father is no longer alive, but really spending all that unlimited time and being able to afford that. So whatever that takes, I'm not a huge person on monetarily being successful, but all, having the health and the, and the personal relationships and being able to spend that time with them. That was my goal. And that's my dream life. And I'm living that. And I think that, in times are changing. And if I actually pitched a TV radio segment on how to make money without trying. And it's like how to make money without trying to make money. Because if you do all these other things, the money will come.
It just
Believe it or
follows.
not, it just does.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but anyway, listen, Jeff, any last advice that you want to leave my audience with as we close this interview?
Oh, thank you. Two very short ones. We don't work for money. We work for what money does for us.
Right.
So money shouldn't be the goal. It's what are you going to do with the money?
Absolutely.
But as a closing thing, what I'd like to say is we live in a world where everything is being measured. Everything.
Right.
Take care to measure the right things in the right way. Yeah.
Very, very profound. I love that. So for people who want to connect with you, and I know you're like me, I have, if you want to talk to me, even though I'm busy, I always make time for everybody. And I know that there's like a speak with Jeff button. So how would you, where would you, my audience find more of you and get to know you?
Okay, it's jeff-smith.com. That's jeff-smith.com/chat. You can do there, or you can go to the website, speak with Jeff. There's my calendar there. You just choose a time and then we can hook up on Zoom or Teams or something like that and have an informal chat. And let's see if I can help you. Yeah,
I love that. So thank you so much for coming. And everything about Jeff, how to connect with him will be in the show notes for those of you who want to connect with Jeff further. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you haven't done it already, please share. And also, don't forget to leave a review and rate the show, because that's how I get feedback. And I'm not asking for anybody to give me a great review. I'm just asking you to be honest and just give me honest feedback. And that's how we grow, as painful as it may be. And so anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And until next time, I wish you health and happiness for you and your family. Thank you, Jeff, for coming.
I feel blessed. Thank you, Victoria.
You've been listening to $1 Million Passion, where we turn dreams into reality and passion into profit. According to ancient Chinese proverb, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Congratulations on taking that first step today. For more information on how Victoria can help you turn your business idea into $1 million and to download Victoria's free ebook on passion-based business ideas, visit $1,000,000passion.com. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast player.